new video, going over a timeline of all the Chicago rappers and artists we lost from 2012 up to 2022. We lost a lot of talent out of Chicago in these past few years, and some of these artists didn't really get to see themselves blow up after they passed away. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Rising Chicago rapper Lil JoJo was gunned down in a hail of bullets in the city's South Side neighborhood of Englewood. JoJo, whose real name was Joseph Coleman, was standing on the back of a friend's bike when a four-door Ford Taurus pulled up and someone inside fired 6 or 7 shots. Coleman tried to flee but ended up collapsing and a short time later was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. NBC Chicago reports that hours after Coleman's death, Keith took to his Twitter feed and seemed to joke about it, writing, "It's sad cuz JoJo wanted to be just like us # laughing my ass off." Shortly before his death, JoJo released 300K, a scathing diss track directed at Lil Reese, Chief Keef and everyone else involved with 300. Chief Keef is said to represent that crew, which has been said to be the rival of the Brick Squad. Brick Squad is said to be a chapter of the Gangster Disciples. Chicago investigators claim that JoJo was linked to the former group. Ultimately, JoJo's killers have never been identified by law enforcement. We might never find out who was responsible for the violent act, but we do know that one person lost their life entirely too soon. Jeffrey Morgan, who often went under the rap moniker Lil Jeff, was killed in cold blood during a house party early Sunday morning on Mother's Day. The 21-year-old member of the Flyboy Gang rap group died at the scene. Friends and family took to social media to mourn the young rapper, including the slain MC's FBG camp. A distraught billionaire Black wrote, "R.I.P. my Rasta at Lil Jeff saying I love you shorty, we took a loss, I still can't believe this." Fellow FBG rapper Lil J also took to Twitter to mourn his fallen brother. "Rest in peace to my blood twin bro at Lil Jeff saying, I'm tuning up for bro, you know what it is, ball in paradise, see you when I get there twin number 99. L.A. Capone Anderson, an up-and-coming rapper and friend of Lil Durk, was shot and killed late evening leaving a South Shore recording studio. The 17-year-old rapper was walking through an alley near 70th Street and Stony Island Avenue around 6:25 p.m. when shots rang out and he was hit in his right thigh and lower back. After the shooting, fellow rapper Lil Durk tweeted, "Get well Lil Bro," but then followed it up with a later tweet of "R.I.P. Lil Bro," after Anderson died about 8:30 p.m. at Northwestern Hospital. In August 2014, the news came out that 3 individuals were charged with L.A. Capone's murder. Saki Hardy Johnson and Michael Mays, both members of 051 Young Money, were charged with first-degree murder. A third individual, Mako Buchanan, whom authorities claim was the driver of a tail car, was also charged in connection with Capone's murder. Authorities claim that all 3 confessed to the crime after being booked. L.A. Capone didn't get a chance to release any mixtapes while he was alive. However, after passing away, his affiliates released a mixtape titled King L.A. for him. It includes his earlier songs, and like most drill music, depicted his daily life as a Black Disciples gang member. 20-year-old rising rapper, Lil Mark, was shot at approximately 1:30 p.m. while standing near a bus stop. Lil Mark was an admitted member of the local 051 Young Money gang, which has no relation to Lil Wayne and his label. His death came days after he put out a controversial music video. Lil Mark released his No Competition music video, where he mocked a rival crew OTF, while he and his crew waved firearms. OTF, which stands for Only the Family, is a popular crew in Chicago. In 2012, Lil Durk and Lil Reese released the track OTF in honor of the crew. Footage of Reese was also edited into in the No Competition video. It is unclear whether the music video was a motive in Mark's death. Chicago rapper who went by the name Blood Money, who was related to Chief Keef, was gunned down near where he grew up in Englewood as possibly two gunmen fired more than 24 shots, striking the victim as many as 10 times and wounding a relative. Blood Money had recently been paid $50,000 to sign with a major record label. Blood Money released 3 solo mixtapes for wider consumption. In June 2013 he dropped Drug Wars and Choppa Talk, and in October he released Gangland. Drug Wars was his most consistent record. It included the distorted bassline banger I'm Crazy with King Louie, 8 Ball and MJG, Armed Robbery, Freestyle, High Speed Chase, and the catchy Kid Third produced Heavy Lean. OTF Nunu, and the cousin of prominent Chicago rap star Lil Durk, was fatally shot in Chatham on a Saturday afternoon. Around 3:20 p.m. Saturday, OTF Nunu was seated in an SUV in a parking lot in the 700 block of East 87th Street when someone approached on foot and fired shots. OTF Nunu then crashed the SUV into a nearby storefront window. OTF Nunu, of the 7200 block of South Halsted Avenue in Englewood, was pronounced dead at the scene at 3:25 p.m. according to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. OTF Nunu was scheduled to release a mixtape called Nusky Got the Strap. OTF is an acronym meaning Only the Family, and is commonly used by Lil Durk and other Chicago rappers. Durk was silent on social media following the shooting but tweeted a link to OC, a video featuring him and OTF Nunu hours before the shooting. Young Chop, a producer famous for making drill beats for Chicago artists such as Lil Durk and Chief Keef, tweeted he was on his way to see the artist after the shooting. Young Pappy, who had previously been the intended target in at least 2 shootings that left bystanders dead, was himself fatally shot. Young Pappy was in the 4800 block of North Kenmore Avenue when gunfire erupted at 1:35 a.m. authorities said. He was declared dead within 30 minutes at Advocate, Illinois Masonic Medical Center. Witnesses reported seeing a black car that may have been associated with the shooting, according to a statement from Alderman Harry Osterman, 48th Ward. The up-and-coming musician was not signed to a record label, but his song, Killa, had more than 250,000 views on YouTube. Another song, Fantio Freestyle, had nearly 225,000 views by the time of his death. As word of the rapper's death spread, fans, including Cliff Alexander, a standout basketball player at Curie Metropolitan High School in the University of Kansas, took to social media to express their condolences. Young Pappy was a member of the Gangster Disciples gang. KTS Vaughn was shot alongside with 2 women after 3 suspects apparently started shooting in KTS Vaughn direction after getting out of 2 cars, but the 2 women survived. KTS Vaughn was wounded multiple times. The offenders quickly departed the scene after getting back into their cars. Sadly, the rapper did not survive and died on the scene. The police reported that there were security cameras in the area that may help create evidence, but no one has been arrested for the murder. KTS, which stands for Kill to Survive, the police have acknowledged that the deceased rapper belonged to the Gangster Disciples Lakeside group. CBE Capo, associated with Chief Keef's Glory Boys Entertainment and the Glow Gang, was shot and killed Saturday during a tragic drive-by incident that also took the life of a 1-year-old boy. Capo was 22. The rapper was shot in the hip and back on Chicago's South Side, and while video exists of bystanders attempting to keep a bleeding Capo conscious until the ambulance arrived, he was pronounced dead shortly after he arrived at the Advocate Christ Medical Center. 20 minutes after the shooting, while the suspects attempted to flee the scene, their vehicle ran up on the sidewalk and struck and killed a 1-year-old boy who was sitting in his stroller. 2 men were later apprehended in connection to the incident. Capo's death came just a week after Chief Keef released the music video for Ain't Missing You, which was a tribute to his late cousin Mario, Big Glow, Hess, another member of the Glow Gang. Hess was shot and killed in Chicago in April 2014. Following news of Capo's death, Chief Keef went to Instagram to pay tribute to both Capo and Big Glow. In haunting lyrics that now seem to mirror the circumstances of Capo's own death, he rapped in his song, Chirac, "You standin' on that block, here comes a drive-by and innocent kids are getting hit, now let's ask God, why?" In January 2015, the rapper released his mixtape Glow Life or No Life 2. Shotta Shells was a controversial South Side rapper with reputed ties to a Black P Stone gang faction called Black Mob, who earned a following in Chicago's drill music scene by taunting gang rivals, some of them slain, with his lyrics. About 3 months after releasing Death of 150, a song that talked of the Black Mob's long-standing feud with the rival Stone faction No Limit, also known as No Limit 150, Shotta Shells, was about to get into his car in the Auburn Gresham community when 3 men exited a white Nissan Altima and opened fire. Shotta Shells was shot multiple times in the head and body. He collapsed mortally wounded in the street. Police recovered 43 shell casings near his body. Records recently unsealed in federal court show that 2 months before Shotta Shells' slaying, the FBI had joined forces with Chicago police to investigate the years-long, back-and-forth violence between Black Mob and No Limit. Shotta Shells was among the rappers, coming up, who was beginning to make a huge mark on the game. However, he had beef with some more established rappers in the city. His biggest beef was G Herbo, who has been making major moves since around 2014. FBG Brick and Kobe Mack were shot and killed on a Monday afternoon in the Woodlawn neighborhood in Southside Chicago. The slayings happened on 63rd and St. Lawrence. Chicago police found one person with a gunshot wound to the head in front of a house, according to the Chicago Tribune. Police found a second victim with gunshot wounds to the back and arm behind the house in a gangway. Brick and Kobe were pronounced dead at the scene. FBG Brick was the older brother of FBG Duck, who will later be gunned down in August 2020. In January 2018, Fredo Santana was found dead in his LA home and, according to an autopsy report, the Los Angeles County coroner has just ruled that cardiovascular disease was the main cause in addition to idiopathic epilepsy. While the rapper was given a prescription of Keppra in order to treat his seizures, he was suffering from them on a monthly basis that tended to appear as a cluster of seizures leading up to his death, according to the report. The unexpected death of Fredo Santana, the older cousin of Chicago rapper Chief Keef, was understandably surprising to hip-hop fans. While the 27-year-old was candid about his struggles with drug addiction, specifically Xanax and lean, the extent of his health damages was unclear. The rapper was reportedly suffering from liver and kidney failure, and his fatal seizure was caused by a cardiovascular disease that is believed to have been brought on by his drug use. In turn, fans have been quick to blame codeine cough syrup for the death of Fredo Santana, but Chief Keef wants everybody to stop making that assumption. Fredo Santana's legacy continues to live on as one of the most prominent figures in underground Chicago drill rap. Mob Dooski, also known as Dooski the Man, was a rapper and member of Moby, a set of the Gangster Disciples gang, located in Chicago. Dooski was a well-known rapper in the Chicago drill scene with songs such as his Who Run It remix accumulating over 1 million views on YouTube. Dooski was shot dead on October 9, 2018, at 5617 South Michigan. He was pronounced dead at the University of Chicago Medical Center. A girl he was with at the time was shot too but survived. His funeral was held October 22, 2018, where 6 others, including rapper Wooski, were shot. No one was killed from the incident. Lil Mr. was shot on Friday, March 15 in the Southside Englewood area at 7:15 p.m. The victim was found with a gunshot wound to his head and was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. While the victim goes unidentified in the report, outlets known for coverage on Chicago rappers like Say Cheese and College Kid later confirmed the victim was Lil Mr. The rapper was synonymous with the Chicago drill scene. In 2012, the artist dropped No Lack Kin, which became his biggest single to date. The rapper found himself in trouble with the law over the years with charges related to speeding and gun possession. Lil Mr. was the cousin of Lil Durk and close friends with slain rapper Lil Jojo. AAB Hellabans, a rapper from Chicago, was killed in a shooting outside of a Miami Beach nightclub in May 11, 2019. Police identified Hellabans as the victim the following day. Hellabans was one of 2 victims shot outside the Cameo nightclub around 2:30 a.m. An officer in the area heard gunshots and saw 2 cars flee from the scene. Cops pursued a 3rd car suspected of being involved in the shooting, but the pursuit ended when 2 of the police's vehicles crashed. Lil Durk was among the first to publicly mourn the late artist's death on social media. "R.I.P. to my dog," he wrote on Twitter. "Love you forever, Hellabans." 2 years later, Miami Beach detectives arrested the person responsible for the death of AAB Hellabans. Detectives said Austin Hall was the shooter and that he had come to Miami Beach to settle a score with AAB Hellabans. Detectives said both of the men were not strangers to law enforcement. AAB Hellabans was named as the alleged shooter in a March 2015 murder at a nightclub called Adriana's in a south suburb of Chicago. Hall had just been convicted on an armed robbery charge, but came to Miami Beach before he was to have turned himself into prison. Trey Savage was shot to death Friday morning while he was driving in Chatham on the south side. The rapper had just dropped off his girlfriend in the 8100 block of South Evans Avenue about 11 a.m. when shots rang out. Trey Savage was hit in the neck and shoulder. Savage continued driving, striking 3 cars. His girlfriend rushed to the car and pulled him from the driver's seat. Savage was then taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office identified him as Kentrey Young, which is Savage's birth name. Savage lived in the same neighborhood where he was shot. An autopsy said Savage died of his gunshot wounds and ruled his death a homicide, according to the medical examiner's office. Witnesses reported seeing a white SUV, possibly a Mazda, in the area at the time of the shooting, police said. That vehicle was last seen on Cottage Grove Avenue. Savage was an associate of rapper Chief Keef and part of Keef's Globe Gang collection of recording artists. Savage's 2014 single, Trap, was described by the website Hot New Hip Hop as precisely the kind of hard-hitting street anthem that enthusiasts have come to love and expect from these Chicago MCs. In 2021, a Chicago man was extradited from Texas to Cook County to face murder charges in the shooting death of Trey Savage. Dimitri Jackson was arrested in Fort Worth, Texas, on a murder warrant related to the June 2020 shooting. FBG Duck was shot and killed in his hometown in the month August 4th. According to multiple reports, the rapper was one of 3 victims in a shooting in the Windy City's Gold Coast neighborhood. Police said 3 people were shopping on Oak Street, which is home to multiple luxury retail stores, when 2 vehicles pulled up to the scene. 4 people got out of the vehicles and allegedly opened fire at the shoppers. FBG Duck was shot in the chest, groin, and neck. He was pronounced dead at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. FBG Duck may have been killed in retaliation for mocking dead rival gang members in rap video. Charles Liggins, also known as C. Murda, Kenneth Roberson, also known as Kenny, and Kenny Mac, to Carlos Offer, also known as Los, Christopher Thomas, also known as C. Tang, and Marcus Smart, also known as Miwa, were charged with murder in aid of racketeering and federal firearm violations and assaults in aid of racketeering. A statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for Northern Illinois said the 5 men, who it said were members of the O-Block Street Gang, publicly claimed responsibility for acts of violence in Chicago and used social media and music to increase their criminal enterprise. The O-Block Gang violently protected its territories on the south side of Chicago and allegedly engaged in numerous acts of violence, the statement said, including the murder in August 2020 of FBG Duck. King Von was an up-and-coming rapper in the Chicago drill scene, died after being involved in a shooting in Atlanta on Friday morning, November 6. He was 26. 3 people were killed and 3 injured in a shooting outside Monaco Hookah Lounge. The shooting allegedly escalated from an argument between 2 groups, which prompted one of 2 off-duty, uniformed police officers working security outside the lounge and an on-duty officer on patrol nearby to intervene. Paramedics took 3 suspects to the hospital, 3 others went to the hospital on their own, and 2 more suspects were detained at the scene. Timothy "Lol Tim" Leaks, the man the Atlanta police arrested for shooting and killing King Von, was arrested in the same month he shot King Von and was granted bond a few months later and became a free man. King Von dropped his first single, Crazy Story, in 2018 and was affiliated with Lil Durk. On October 9, 2020, King Von released I Am What I Am, featuring New York rapper Fivio Foreign. This release was in anticipation of his debut studio album Welcome to O-Block, released on October 29, 2020. On March 4, 2022, King Von's management team released his first posthumous album, What It Means to Be King. BCR Measle was shot and killed early Saturday morning, February 6, in Bloomingdale, Illinois. The 27-year-old Chicago rapper, who is also allegedly Duck's cousin, was attending a party at the Indian Lakes Hotel at the time of the shooting. Police arrived at the scene around 2:35 a.m. local time and reportedly found multiple gunshot victims. Measle was rushed to the St. Alexius Medical Center emergency room, where he was pronounced dead less than an hour later. Bloomingdale Public Safety Director Frank Giammarise said in a statement that at least 6 people were injured during the shooting. However, it's unknown whether or not the gunman and victims knew each other. There was some type of incident that transpired from either one person from one group and one person to another, but it appears that there were a couple of different groups attending different events at the hotel, Giammarise said. I don't know if it was a party. I don't have all those details, but it was a couple of groups of people and something transpired, and that's when the shooting took place, mostly in the hallways at the hotel. As it stands, no arrests have been made and it's unknown who killed BCR Measle. Gunsmoke or Gutta was a good rapper affiliated with Wooski. Gutta was shot multiple times in 2021, on 7310 South Dante Street in Sircon City Territory. Gutta was discovered outside, unresponsive with gunshot wounds to the face and neck in the 7300 block of South Dante in the Grand Crossing neighborhood. He was pronounced dead at the scene. He was shot multiple times including the chest, neck and head. Gutta was an active member in the music scene and streets. There are rumors this whole thing is coming after the death of BCR Measle, where Gutta was dissing him. Big Clout Records celebrated after Gutta passed. Young Trell, born Dontrell Robinson, was shot to death at a home in South Side Chicago, the Chicago Sun-Times reports. The 22-year-old artist was reportedly found dead with multiple gunshot wounds to his body. At age 14, Trell made an appearance in Noisy Vice's documentary in episode 2, Keith in NYC/Chirac's New Kids. Trello revealed he first began recording his music at studio just 3 months prior to the Noisy documentary. GGE Trello was killed after dissing 757 Gunsmoke Gutta, a close friend of OTF Timo. Trello was an up-and-coming on the music scene, gaining a big following, also being very disrespectful to his enemies. Trello and Main Jane released a song, 30 Dead Ops, attacking their dead enemies. KTS Dre was fatally shot shortly after he was released from jail on Saturday night in an ambush. KTS Dre was shot at least 64 times outside Chicago's Cook County Jail. Following the incident, police discovered 59 shell casings around the 2700 block of West 27th Street in Little Village. KTS Dre was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital and was pronounced dead there less than an hour later. A 60-year-old woman that was with KTS Dre was hit in the knee and taken to Stroger Hospital for treatment. Another woman who was walking around in the area when the gunfire erupted was also shot. The woman's mouth was grazed by a bullet. She was taken to Mount Sinai and listed as being in good condition. KTS Dre had been released and was walking, along with the 60-year-old women, to a car that was waiting to take them when the suspects exited 2 separate vehicles and all began to shoot in KTS Dre direction, striking him numerous times. After the shooting, the suspects got back in their vehicles and left the scene in different directions. KTS Dre was the older brother of KTS Vaughn. G-Ski was a 21-year-old rapper from Lick Gang 9800 in an Insane Gangster Disciples set. G-Ski was shot and killed while he was in a car in the 800 block of East 87th, Chatham neighborhood, south side of Chicago. He was shot multiple of times, including in the head. After his death, Skid Row and Lick Gang members started to honor him. Meanwhile, his enemies from Roseland started to diss him. There was no one arrested for his murder. Nusky Gang Dewey 4 was hit in the morning hours. He was shot while driving in the around 11 a.m. in the 8700 block of South Signal, which is known as Black Mob territory. Both him and another person they were riding in the car were killed. Dewey 4 was part of Face World 079 and was very close to Juju. Face World is known to beef with Wooga World and Brick Squad heavy. Dewey 4 was known to slide on enemies and was a definite hitter. He was targeted before luckily survived with a leg shot. His music started to really take off around 2019. His song, Murder Talk, has over 800,000 views on YouTube and Rihanna has over 200,000 views on YouTube. Edai was reportedly shot and killed either late Saturday night, July 31st, or in the wee hours of Sunday morning, August 1st. He was shot multiple times in the back and rushed to the University of Chicago Hospital where he died. Edai is often credited for helping pioneer the Chicago drill scene alongside fellow Chi-Town rapper Chief Keef. He first emerged in 2012 thanks to the success of his song, Gucci. Edai then established his own label Team 600 Entertainment and released his solo album, Came From Nothing, in February 2014. He was also known for dissing his enemies. He was very disrespectful when he had the mic. FBG Cash was shot and killed on the city's south side early on a Friday morning, June 10th. He was 31 years old. The rapper was fatally shot inside a vehicle at around 5:32 a.m. in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood's 1600 block of West 81st Street. A 29-year-old female passenger was also shot but is still alive. A black four-door sedan, possibly a Cadillac, approached the vehicle in which the pair were seated. An unidentified offender got out and opened fire before climbing back into the car and fleeing westbound. FBG Cash sustained multiple gunshot wounds to the body and was transported to Advocate Christ Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. The female victim was struck in the left arm and upper back and was transported to Advocate Christ Medical Center in serious condition. FBG Cash dropped his debut album The Heart of the Streets in January 2021 and has collaborated with the likes of Famous Dex and Lotto Savage. Cash's death comes less than 2 years after fellow FBG rapper FBG Duck. FBG Duck affiliate CBE-KG was reportedly shot and killed in Chicago over Labor Day weekend, roughly 2 years after Duck was gunned down in the Gold Coast district. CBE-KG was the boyfriend of FBG Duck's sister. Mama Duck even tried to give him CPR after he got shot. CBE-KG is well known for his song titled Bang Bang, which has over 50,000 views on YouTube.